Is Britain headed for civil war?
King's College London professor of war studies David Betts set off alarm bells this year by saying Britain is headed towards civil war, and he advised people living in its large cities to move before the violence starts.
The country has reached a breaking point, and today we're talking about why. So, Britain, where do we start? Because people aren't just frustrated at the minute, they're angry. They're fed up, they're tired of shouting at a government that just won't listen while the country steps ever closer to something that's genuinely dangerous.
Running the country into the ground since the Queen died and he got in. England is in a fast tsunami going nowhere.
Now, I'm not here to cause drama or sensationalise. I'm not saying that we wake up tomorrow and the streets will be in chaos. But if you pay attention to the mood of this country, if you really listen to the people, there's a tension there, and it's growing, and it isn't going away.
They're saying, why is it they get hotel rooms? Why is it they get welfare when we are struggling?
The riots and the disturbances were symptomatic of a much deeper disillusionment in this country with the way in which British people just no longer feel safe in their own communities. They no longer feel safe in their country where lawlessness is essentially being sanctioned by the state.
Now, from everything I'm seeing, from what people are telling me, including what you guys are writing in the comments, it boils down to two main issues: illegal immigration and the cost of living. So let's start with illegal immigration. This is one of the main issues that really feels like it's got Britain on the edge right now.
Watch the shocking moment a migrant on a packed dinghy shouts, "We're coming to London," as he joins dozens of others crossing the English Channel illegally.
Baby, come to London.
Every single week, and sometimes every day, more and more illegal migrants show up on our shores. And it gets the average person thinking, if the government can't control our borders, what can they control?
More than 36,800 migrants have arrived in small boats so far in 2025, higher than the figure for the whole of 2024. At first light on Wednesday, another group was filmed leaving northern France, around 30 people boarding a dinghy bound for Dover as French police searched the dunes nearby.
And then the average person sees what happens next. Hotels filled up, entire blocks booked out, paid for with taxpayer money. And I think for the taxpayer, that leaves a really bitter taste. Because what about all the people that are paying for this? They're struggling to heat their homes, they're cutting meals, they're really stretched to breaking point. It creates massive amounts of resentment, of course it does. And yet the government acts confused as to why people are angry at them. Like they can't understand why people are furious. Now, let me be clear, if you're from a less fortunate country and the UK has its borders open and its welfare system is easy to take advantage of course you're going to make that journey. Who in their right mind wouldn't? Let's be honest, this isn't the people's fault, the guys who come here illegally. They're just playing the game. This is the government's fault. But the trouble is, you're taxed into the ground to pay for it all.
Here in the UK, the Home Office has been accused of wasting billions of pounds on hotels for asylum seekers over the last 6 years. The scheme has sparked protests around the country, and now a report by MPs says that flawed contracts and incompetent delivery have left the department unable to cope with a surge in demand.
Tax comes out of your payslip, then you get your national insurance, your council tax, your VAT. It's tax on tax on tax. But where exactly does all that money go? Now, I don't know about you, but I'm not seeing better public services. I don't see safer streets, and I certainly don't see investment in my local community. Where people can see their tax money going is an endless stream of hotel bills. They see benefits handed to people who have just got here illegally, while British citizens struggle to get a dentist appointment. And that kind of brings me on to my second driving point behind all this tension: the cost of living.
But the mouths being fed from this free community food table give a sobering insight into just how deep the cost of living crisis is biting.
Thank you very much.
Would you say you have a good job?
Yes, yeah, it's a good job, yeah. You know, I'm earning pretty decent money, but it's not enough. I'll have some beans, please.
Rebecca Flynn works full-time as an office manager for a day service for people with learning difficulties.
Can I have some of the chicken noodles, please?
On top of that, she has a second job going door-to-door evenings and weekends selling cosmetics and homeware.
I need to come here, otherwise we'd be living on bread.
Are you literally saying that you wouldn't have enough food to eat, even though you're working full-time?
Yeah, I wouldn't have enough food.
We are taxed so heavily at the minute that working class, even middle class families are poorer than ever. And it's not always just about the prices, right? It can be about the principle too. The sense that people who graft, people who go to work, people who do things right are getting punished. Meanwhile, the government decides to throw money at people who can work, but decide not to.
Well, it's time now for another exclusive, and I'm about to lay bare the brazen corruption of Britain's benefits cheats, including the latest case of a fraudster who stole £44,000 worth of taxpayers' money in disability payments whilst taking part in gruelling Christmas walks dressed as an elf. Kelly Simpson said that she suffered from severe mobility issues due to a degenerative disc disease in her back. She claimed tasks such as using the bath independently, climbing stairs and putting on socks and shoes were impossible. But the Department for Work and Pensions investigators saw on social media that Simpson took part in 2 festive walks, each more than 7 miles long, dressed as a Christmas pudding and Santa's little helper.
I'm not talking about the people who genuinely actually need help. Everybody agrees that there should be a safety net. People get sick, people lose their jobs, some people physically can't work at all. But this is who the system was designed to help. Now, it doesn't take a genius to see that there's people who have clearly gamed the system. It's being absolutely abused at the minute, and people who have never paid into the system in their lives are living a life of luxury compared to some people who aren't actually working.
The cost of living crisis is impacting people across the UK. Some of the biggest shifts are in daily essentials like food and energy prices, which have both increased dramatically, making life in the UK more expensive. But one area that has been particularly hard hit is the constituency of Cannock Chase in Staffordshire. Wages here used to match the national average in 2021, but that's not the case anymore. Although wages across the UK have risen by 21.6% over 3 years, in Cannock Chase they've only increased by 8.4%.
The country at the minute feels like it rewards idleness and punishes good work. And when you combine the cost of living, the feeling that hard work doesn't really get you anywhere, and the illegal immigration issue, that's a perfect storm. Let's be honest, most people don't trust the government, they don't trust the police, and they certainly don't trust the media. It very much feels like we're all being deliberately ignored.
Quite a shocking top story for us this morning, because we have done an exclusive survey which has laid bare the crisis in policing, revealing that just 1 in 9 women fully trust the police, and many fear there are now more bad officers than good in some areas, including London.
The police have definitely lost public faith. They have most certainly lost the public's trust.
As a lone female possibly driving home, if you were pulled by an officer, you'd think twice about stopping.
Crime's rising, communities don't feel safe anymore, and the streets just feel different. If you walk into any major city, you can feel it. The sense that the country is kind of fraying at the edges. It's not quite right. There's a sense of massive unease. And instead of fixing it, the government down in Westminster acts surprised when people lash out. So why do people think that Britain is genuinely on the brink of civil war? Well, here's the thing. Collapse doesn't always have to be around one big event. Sometimes it can be small, tiny events that eventually lead to chaos. It's death by a million cuts. But right now, Britain kind of feels like we're past the halfway point, past the point of no return. I mean, go look online, look at the news article. This video, for example, it's clear that people are openly talking about civil unrest. Communities are clashing every day, and the political elite just seem to ignore it. So what is the danger here? And this is genuinely the part that hits me hardest, because people don't want division, they don't want to fight, they want fairness, they want security, they want to feel like their country is looking after them. And the truth is, I don't think the current government are going to listen to any of our concerns. And that, right there, is how societies break. But I would love to hear your thoughts. Do you genuinely think Britain is on the peak of civil war, or do you think this is just a little bit of frustration boiling over? Let me know your thoughts. Drop a comment below. I do try to read every single one. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff, because it genuinely really does help me out. I'll be digging more into the UK and all of these issues soon, but as always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.